The dollar is at a 5-year high relative to the Japanese yen. It's about 104 in round numbers. Very interesting story. Japan is pumping in reserves like crazy, even while our Fed may slow that process down. All right, the Japanese stock market, Jeff, up nearly 50% year to date, 48% year to date. The dollar up 16% year to date. So even if you didn't hedge, even if you just went naked and bought yen stock market, the Nikkei, you'd have come out ahead substantially. Now, let me just ask you, if the U.S. is uncertain, as all you guys are suggesting, should people go into Japan if they haven't already?
Well, Larry, you bring up a great point, and they literally took QE 1, 2, and 3, jammed it together, and have done it this year alone in Japan. So they have seen those great gains. But honestly, if we do have a taper here out of the U.S., that sets the template, that sets the tone for the whole world. We saw what happened in June. Once we saw the initiation of a possible taper, they sold off emerging markets. So Japan got brought down with that. But right now, it doesn't seem like Japan's going to pull back. But if you told me that we're going to have a 10% correction, I would honestly say I have a better chance of dying by a coconut. So we will see. But right now, it does feel very, very a false sense of security in the market, Larry.
John Rutledge, I'm a long-term bull. I can't buy a coconut in New York. I have to go to Florida for that in a couple of weeks. But I don't know. A 10% correction, John, is that so out of the question? I'm surprised that Jeff Kilberg would say that. What's your outlook, John? Give us some.
I'm betting against it, Larry. In the first place, I'll take that Abe trade of buying the Japanese stock market and shorting the yen, which fits Japanese policy very well right now. But in the U.S., people are confusing QE with stimulus. They're saying that when QE's gone, stimulus is gone. Buying bonds is not the stimulus. The stimulus is the unloaned reserves that have been piling up. By the time they finish, they're going to be $3 trillion of excess reserves. Those excess reserves at a quarter point generate $7.5 billion of revenue for banks. Every percent they can get extra loaning those out, they can add $30 billion to earnings. Unless they've repealed the laws of arbitrage, banks are going to continue lending this money out, and the Fed's going to be in a posture where they're going to have to tighten.